Ever wondered how you could amplify the productivity of your pasture while keeping your livestock healthy and happy? If you're nodding your head, then you're in for a treat because today, we're exploring the fascinating concept of rotational grazing. Picture a typical bucolic scene, livestock leisurely grazing on a vast open field. This is continuous grazing, the traditional method most of us are familiar with. But what if I told you there's a different, more efficient method that not only benefits your livestock, but also boosts the health of your pasture? Enter rotational grazing, a true game changer in the world of agriculture. So, what exactly is rotational grazing? In a nutshell, it's like turning your pasture into a gourmet restaurant with a tasting menu. Instead of a single sprawling field, your pasture is divided into smaller sections called paddocks. Each of these paddocks becomes a different course for your livestock to feast on. Typically, you'd have around 4 to 8 paddocks, depending on the size of your land and the number of animals you have. But here's the key. Rather than letting your livestock roam freely across all sections, you guide them to graze one paddock at a time. Once they've had their fill, you move them to the next section, giving the grazed paddock time to rest, recover, and regrow. This cycle of grazing and rest, akin to a rhythmic dance, is the secret sauce that makes rotational grazing so successful. Comparing it to continuous grazing, rotational grazing is like a well-choreographed ballet versus a free-for-all dance-off. It's strategic, structured, and above all, sustainable. It's about ensuring every blade of grass is utilized effectively, every animal is nourished adequately, and every square inch of soil is nurtured optimally. So, there you have it. The basics of rotational grazing. It's more than just a method, it's a paradigm shift, a more conscious approach towards managing pastures and livestock. Now that you've got a basic understanding of what rotational grazing is, let's delve into how it works. So how does rotational grazing work? Imagine you're a conductor, orchestrating a symphony of grazing. Your baton, a series of fences, your musicians, a herd of livestock, your sheet music, the rhythm of rotation. Let's break it down. First, you'll need to divide your land into manageable sections or paddocks. Think of your pasture as a pie and each paddock as a slice. Now, the size of these slices depends on several factors like your land size, the number of animals you have, and the amount of available forage. As a rule of thumb, aim for between 4 to 8 paddocks for the best results. Next, you'll need to fence off each paddock. This is crucial, as it helps keep your livestock contained and prevents them from wandering into areas they shouldn't. Whether you opt for electric fences or permanent fencing, the goal is clear boundaries for grazing. Now it's time for the main event, grazing. You move your livestock into one paddock at a time, allowing them to feast on the fresh, delicious forage. But here's the trick. You need to keep an eye on their progress and move them to the next paddock before they completely graze down the current one. This leave some behind approach ensures the plants have enough time to recover and thrive. Once the animals move to the next paddock, the grazed one enters a rest phase. This rest period is like a spa day for your pasture, allowing the plants to regrow, replenish their energy reserves, and strengthen their root systems. Then, the cycle continues. You move your livestock through each paddock, providing them with a fresh buffet of forage while giving the previously grazed sections ample time to recuperate. This rhythm of rotational grazing is a delicate balance, a dance between grazing and rest that promotes healthier pastures, happier livestock, and a more sustainable future for farming. And that, folks, is the rhythm of rotational grazing, a beautiful dance between grazing and rest. Now, you might be wondering, what's in it for me? Well, buckle up, because the benefits of rotational grazing are plentiful and go far beyond what meets the eye. First off, let's talk about your pastures. With rotational grazing, each paddock gets a chance to rest and rejuvenate after a grazing spell. This break is like a spa getaway for your grass, allowing plants to regrow, replenish their energy reserves, and strengthen their root systems. The result? A verdant, thriving pasture that's a veritable powerhouse of productivity. But the goodness doesn't stop at the surface. By preventing overgrazing and allowing for proper rest periods, you're not just nurturing the grass above ground, you're also enhancing the life below. The soil becomes a superstar, with increased organic matter, decreased erosion, and soaring fertility. It's not just about growing grass, It's about creating a thriving ecosystem that supports your pasture and beyond. Now let's shift our focus to the stars of the show, your livestock. With rotational grazing, your animals get access to fresh, high-quality forage on a regular basis. This nutritional boost can work wonders for their overall health and well-being. Studies have shown that rotational grazing can lead to improvements in weight gain, milk production, and even reproductive performance. Happy cows indeed make a happy life. But it's not just about the immediate benefits. By adopting rotational grazing, you're investing in the long-term sustainability of your farm. It's a method that helps you build resilience against drought, maintain biodiversity, and reduce reliance on external inputs. In other words, it's a win-win situation for you, your animals, and the environment. So whether you're a seasoned farmer looking to shake things up, or a newbie entering the world of agriculture, rotational grazing offers you a sustainable, efficient, and rewarding way to manage your pastures. As you can see, the benefits of rotational grazing extend far beyond the pasture. It's a practice that has the potential to revolutionize the way we think about farming, one paddock at a time. Now that we've covered the theory, let's look at how rotational grazing plays out in the real world. From the rolling hills of New Zealand to the vast plains of the American Midwest, rotational grazing is taking root and transforming landscapes. Let's take a whirlwind tour of some of these success stories. In the lush pastures of Ireland, farmers have seen significant improvements in livestock health and productivity. With rotational grazing, they've been able to boost milk production and improve the overall quality of their dairy products. The once overgrazed fields are now lush, green, and teeming with life, and the cows have never looked happier. Jumping over to the savannas of Africa, rotational grazing has been instrumental in combating desertification. By moving herds across the land in a controlled manner, farmers have been able to mimic the natural grazing patterns of wild animals, leading to the restoration of degraded grasslands. This has resulted in increased forage yields, providing sustenance for both livestock and wildlife. Closer to home in the United States, rotational grazing has helped small-scale farmers become more sustainable and profitable. By implementing this method, they've been able to reduce the need for external inputs like fertilizers, leading to significant cost savings. Furthermore, they've seen an increase in soil health and biodiversity, making their farms more resilient to challenges like droughts and pests. Over in Australia, the practice of rotational grazing has led to a reduction in soil erosion, a significant issue in many parts of the continent. By allowing paddocks to rest and recover, farmers have seen an increase in plant cover, which in turn helps to hold the soil together and prevent erosion. These real-world examples illustrate the transformative power of rotational grazing. But remember, every farm is unique, and what works in one place might not work in another. The key is to understand the principles of rotational grazing, adapt them to your specific circumstances, and above all, observe and learn from your land and your animals. These real-world applications demonstrate the transformative power of rotational grazing. So, there you have it, the ins and outs of rotational grazing. We've journeyed from understanding the concept of rotational grazing to breaking down its mechanics, appreciating its benefits, and even exploring its real-world applications. It's evident that this revolutionary method has the power to transform our pastures, our livestock, and our entire approach to farming. Rotational grazing is more than just a grazing strategy. It's an approach that respects the natural rhythm of nature. It's about creating a series of smaller, nutrient-rich courses instead of one endless buffet for our livestock. This rhythmic dance between grazing and rest allows our pastures to rejuvenate, leading to healthier land and happier animals. The mechanics are simple yet effective. We divide our land into manageable paddocks, typically between 4 and 8, and strategically move our livestock through them. The key is to monitor their progress and move them to the next paddock before they completely graze down the current one. This leave some for later approach ensures the plants have enough time to recover and thrive. And the benefits? They're nothing short of extraordinary. Rotational grazing transforms our pastures into powerhouses, allowing plants to grow vigorously and yield more forage. It provides our animals with access to higher quality, more nutritious food, leading to improvements in weight gain, milk production, and even reproductive performance. And let's not forget about the soil. Rotational grazing nurtures the life below the surface, improving soil health and fertility, and creating a thriving ecosystem for our plants and beyond. Real-world applications prove that this isn't just theory. It's a practical and successful approach adopted by farmers worldwide. From small-scale homesteads to large commercial operations, rotational grazing is making waves in the agricultural world. Remember, a healthy pasture is the foundation of a successful farm. So why not give rotational grazing a try? Until next time, keep grazing and growing.